Candace Owens, out of all of the demons on the right, was perhaps the only person, perhaps the only fucking person out there who actually was able to humanize Charlie Kirk and like very clearly is going through the stages of grief. I never thought I would say this because I've always seen Candace Owens as like a major grifter, but it does seem to me like, I mean, I know that they were friends, but it seems to me like they were really actually much closer to one another than any number of different people on the right that have been like, Charlie Kirk told me that he wants me to kill all of the leftists, actually. That's what his last text was, which is, of course, what Stephen Miller did, right? Stephen Miller went on Fox News and said this: the last message that Charlie Kirk gave to me before he joined his creator in heaven was, he said that we have to dismantle and take on the radical left organizations in this country. It was psycho. Just like absolute fucking psychopath, dude.
And let me tell you something I'd not share with anybody, but the last message that Charlie Kirk gave to me before he joined his creator in heaven was he said that we have to dismantle and take on the radical left organizations in this country that are fomenting violence. That was the last message that he sent me before that assassin stole him from all of us. And we are going to do that under President Trump's leadership. I don't care how. It could be a RICO charge, a conspiracy charge, conspiracy against the United States, insurrection, but we are going to do what it takes to dismantle the organizations and the entities that are fomenting riots, that are doxing.
Yeah. Last message Charlie Kirk sent to me was, I look good bald, actually, and I'm handsome, and I'm so good at speaking and writing Trump speeches, and that maybe Trump should make me Secretary of State instead of Marco Rubio. So we have to do that. Obviously, that's real. That's a real thing he told me. Okay? Also, what if that's what he said? Who gives a shit? What are you talking about? Like, this is another thing that I don't understand. It's like, okay, let's say this is real, which I don't. I don't believe this is real. I think he's just like trying to slam as much policy into this, this event that's supposed to be traumatic to galvanize the base into taking action and finding comfort in this kind of like vengeance quest and political persecution and political dissidents. You know, even if he traumatic for their side, man, calm down. Okay. Like, this is Fox News. It's traumatic for them. Have you talked to fucking boomers lately? They're like crying and shit. Okay. It's very obvious. It is very obvious to me that their goal, I mean, Trump spelled it out pretty much, but they are very obviously trying to get their audience on board, get the right, the MAGA base to be on board with political persecution of political dissidents. This is an anecdote from my life, but I know people that are diehard MAGA loyalists, okay? Not directly. And I know that when they saw that I was apprehended by Customs and Border Patrol, they did not like that. And that's part of the reason why the Department of Homeland Security even came out and was like, there is no political persecution of political dissidents whatsoever. Hassan Piker is lying for clicks. Okay? Remember, they didn't say that the detainment didn't take place. They openly copped to it. They admitted to that. They just took issue with the targeting of political dissidents. This is something that even the MAGA base, some of the most loyal in the MAGA base, still are not fully subscribed to, fully on board with. I know it sounds insane. To say this because you're gonna be like, what? I see all these fucking people that are screaming bloody murder and they want political persecution. And it's true. There are plenty in the base that do want it, but there are still a lot of normies out there that are not, that don't have the same exact appetite to just like start rounding up the left or whoever the administration declares political dissidents, because like Americans do place a lot of emphasis and a lot of value on the First Amendment, a lot more than you would think. Regardless of how hypocritical they may be, they still believe that they have this underlying notion that like free speech means like, you know, you're going to hear stuff that you don't like and the government shouldn't intervene in this. It was also a big part of what Trump used to win the race. He said the Department of Justice was weaponized against him. So they used to get mad about the whole, like, you know, Facebook Facebook is banning anti-vaxxer sentiment because directed by the Biden administration. Like, these are gripes that they have. So there is a level of, there is some appetite for political persecution of political dissidents, but the reason why they're really farming this is because they want that to be a unified front when they eventually engage in it.
That are trying to inspire terrorism and that are committing acts of wanton violence. It has to stop. And my message is to all of the domestic terrorists in this country spreading this evil hate. You want us to live in fear? We will not live in fear, but you will live in exile. Because the power of law enforcement under President Trump's leadership will be used to find you, will be used to take away your money, take away your power, and if you've broken the law, to take away your freedom, Sean.
I want to say this is a Twitter issue, but honestly, Twitter is becoming more and more real life. It's an unfortunate reality. Like, I want to say Twitter is not real life, but we have motherfuckers in the administration that treat it as though it is. So I guess at that point, it is real life. You know what I mean? It's pretty crazy. There's more to talk about this stuff. I told you Twitter's real life. Twitter wasn't real life for the longest time, chatter. Unfortunately, it's becoming one now.
At 2:22 p.m., the Orem Police Department said the shooting suspect was not in custody and is still at large. At 2:40 p.m., President Donald Trump announces in a post on Truth Social that Charlie Kirk has died from his injuries, writing, quote, "No one understood or had the heart of the youth in the United States of America."
I will say Trump's behavior on this is very Trump and also very strange. I've talked about this before. He's like virtually incapable of like expressing grief in a normal fashion. And he did that here as well, where he had to be the first to announce that Charlie Kirk was pronounced dead, if you noticed. And also he had to be the first to announce that the shooter of Charlie Kirk was apprehended. They waited. They apprehended him at night, and they waited until morning for Donald Trump to go on fucking Fox and Friends and reveal this information. It is so crazy. Not only that, but also, if you want to know how little he gives a fuck, there's also this moment where they ask him, "My condolences on the loss of your friend Charlie Kirk. How are you holding up?" Let's hear what Donald Trump's response was to this question.
How are you holding up over the last 3.5 days? I think very good. And by the way, right there, you see all the trucks. They've just started construction of the new ballroom for the White House, which is something they've been trying to get, as you know, for about 150 years. And it's going to be a beauty. It'll be an absolutely magnificent structure. And I just see all the trucks. We just started, so it'll get done very nicely, and it'll be one of the best anywhere in the world, actually.
Thank you so much.
Your message.
Yeah, on 9/11, he went to the Yankees game, and he just sat there and he was fucking dancing. That was the night, that was the day after Charlie Kirk had been assassinated. So like, it's so funny to me that like conservatives will be like, this is bloody murder. This is the most impactful, most important figure, and for many conservatives, it probably is, right? Charlie Kirk was an incredibly important figure for a lot of conservatives, I guess, and they cared about him quite a bit. Trump is not one of those people, because I think he's just like, it is impossible for him to care about anything but himself. That's my point. So they are just very cynically, I think a lot of the right has moved in a very weird fashion in the aftermath of this, or I guess perhaps expected fashion, like super sociopathic. People are salivating at the throne. People are salivating at the prospect of like taking the throne and the mantle away from Charlie Kirk now that he's dead. Obviously, you got Nick Fuentes on the one side, really restructuring his commentary and trying to become the new wave and the new voice of the Gen Z conservatives. You have Stephen Miller. We just showed you. You have Donald Trump saying, we're going to use Charlie's murder as a way to persecute political dissidents. You have the Steven Crowder going from number 2 largest conservative show to number 1. You have Ben Shapiro talking about potentially taking over Turning Point USA as well. So there are a million different things that these guys have done that basically shows, with the exception of like Candace Owens, I would say, that these guys don't give a fuck about anything, and certainly not about Charlie Kirk, the person, but more so about like what they can get out of the situation. Okay. Now, of course, before people say, Hassan, what about you? It's like, well, you already know my position. I'm not a friend of Charlie Kirk. I am I was his ideological opposition. So I think I have a different set of expectations here. Like obviously I'm not going to run around fucking celebrating this because it's infinitely, you're weird as fuck. Okay. It's incredibly close to someone like myself, but like the reality of the matter is that with the exception of Candace Owens, I've seen very little like human emotion and reaction to this kind of thing. I'm pretty sure the Ben Shapiro takeover was fake. No, it's not real. It's not happening. But I'm saying that like people are posturing to take advantage of the situation to the best of their ability. They want it. I have seen his wife's press release as well. I don't know if I should like get into that because I feel like it's a little it's a little strange, like the way I mean she's grieving is what I want to think, and therefore it's very strange the way she's like reacted to it as well. But let's take a look at what Trump was saying when he revealed that the Charlie Kirk shooter had been apprehended.
And we're going to look into that.
What do we do about our country with that? Because we have radicals on the right as well. We have radicals on the left. People are watching all of these videos and cheering. Some people are cheering that Charlie was killed. How do we fix this country? How do we come back together?
I'll tell you something that's going to get me in trouble, but I couldn't care less.
What about your fellow political streamer reaction? Who? I don't know who you're talking about, but I don't care. Okay, I'm not doing this. Like, I don't care. I don't know how other people have reacted to it, but it is so funny when motherfuckers be like, we couldn't get what we wanted out of you in terms of your reaction because it seemed like you were too traumatized for us to be able to farm it as though you were actually excited at the prospect. So we're just gonna move on and be like, well, what about these other people? Like, I don't know, man. Go take it up with them, okay?
The radicals on the right oftentimes are radical because they don't want to see crime. And we're going to look into that.
What do we do about our country with that? Because we have radicals on the right.
Yeah, I saw people say you had a sociopathic reaction. Wait, what? Who the fuck said that? They must have seen something entirely different. They probably got duped by like some other shit. Anyway, I'm not also in the business. I'm not in the business of like weighing in on whether someone has demonstrated like sufficient grief. Okay, we're not even talking about that at this moment.